Hey, what's up? This is Vaslav here. Today I'm upgrading my everyday security cameras with a dash of AI magic using Home Assistant's LLM Vision custom integration. To keep it tight and practical, I'll split the video in 3 parts. First, I'll show you the thing in action. Then I'll walk you through the setup so you can follow along, and we will test how it works to show you how to tune your prompts. And finally, I'll show you the automations with the prompts I actually use. So let's dive in. I have 3 scenarios for security, smart doorbell, and waste collection, obviously. So first, for security, I actually run 2 separate automations, each supercharged with the LLM Vision. Imagine the security is armed away when the Frigate integration spots a person on the property. In the past, I only got a notification, person detected, and I had to open Home Assistant to see what is going on. Not anymore. LLM Vision grabs a snapshot from the camera that triggered the event and describes who is there and what they're doing. In this case, it'll figure that there is one person, a bald man with a beard, wearing a dark sweatshirt and blue jeans. He's holding an object that looks like a hammer or an axe, and the man is walking along the sidewalk in front of the house. I didn't use the memory in this automation, so it didn't recognize me. So it will take this description and embed it into the push alert. Then, when the alarm is triggered and the siren blares, the second automation fires. LLM Vision sweeps every security camera looking for people, vehicles, and it adds the door and window sensor status to an urgent message sent to me. The alarm has been triggered. The camera shows a person wearing black clothing holding a baseball bat. This is strange and poses a security risk. The cameras in front of the house, behind the house, and in the garden east shows nothing. There is a car parked in the garage. All windows and front doors are closed. This 2-layer approach gives me context before something escalates and while it's happening. So I know whether to call a police or just roll over and go back to sleep. The second scenario makes my doorbell a bit smarter again. The doorbell rings while I'm on the call. A snapshot hits LLM Vision, and before I even glance my phone, I already know. Somebody's ringing the doorbell. It's a man in a dark cloth holding a light color bags in his hand. Behind him, a delivery truck from the Koshik grocery delivery service. So I excuse myself from the call and rush to the door to take it over. The third scenario I have is waste collection reminder. If you're not new to this channel, you've probably figured this is actually my first scenario. We sort waste into 4 bins, each with its own weird schedule. Miss the pickup and we are stuck with an overfull container, sometimes for a couple of weeks. So at sunset, the evening before the collection, LLM Vision checks the driveway camera, and if the correct bin isn't at the curb, my voice assistant gently nags.
Tomorrow is the bio-waste collection, and the container is not out.
Simple, hands-free, peace of mind. So now that you know what we are up to, is the time to get LLM Vision running. Follow me, step by step on the screen. The LLM Vision is available in the HACS default repository. So I'm gonna go to HACS and search. I'm gonna search for LLM Vision, click on that, and here I'm gonna download it. Download. Once this is downloaded, I will need to restart the Home Assistant. So I'm gonna restart, I'm gonna pause the video in here and come back when I'm back online. So Home Assistant is started. Now we need to set it up. So we will need to choose the large language model provider. There are instructions in the LLM Vision documentation. So if I just head in here into the repository, here are the instructions how to install it. So install LLM Vision through HACS, we just did that. Select your provider. There are instructions for selecting the provider. So I'm going to click in here. These are the cloud-based providers you can choose, and then you can also use self-hosted provider. So I decided to use the Google Gemini. I was testing also OpenAI, where I already have an account, but I have find that Gemini is slightly better in recognizing people in the images. I think there is something built in the OpenAI that is preventing it to recognize specific people. So Google Gemini seems to work better for me. So to install it, I just need to navigate to device services, go to add integration, search LLM Vision, select the provider and enter the details. So simple enough. So settings, device and services, I'm gonna add integration, LLM Vision, get in here, and I'm going to select the Google and submit, and it will ask me for the API key from Google Gemini. So what I need to do is I need to go back to the browser, and in here I need to go for Google Gemini API, get Gemini API. You just get in here, you just click on the button in here, create API key, and you can either create key in some of your existing projects or create a new one. So once you get it, the API key will appear on your screen and you just paste it in there. So that's the large language model. The other thing which I find useful is as well I could create a timeline, which is quite useful for sort of keeping a log of all the searches we have made if you choose to. So I create a timeline for 7 days, submit. And finally, I'd like to add a memory. And if you set up memory, what you could do is in this memory, you could set up different images, so you can have more than one. And then you can describe what the images are. So you can add multiple images and then multiple descriptions, and the images and the descriptions, they basically have to go in the same order. So first description is for the first image, second description for the second image, and so on. And then here you can tweak the system prompt and title prompt. I'll show you what I have done. And this is going to create a memory for the large language models. And when you do search, you can actually ask it to refer to the memory to recognize specific objects or people. So it's quite useful as well. And the last thing which I'd like to set up is here. If you look at the timeline card, there is a custom card. That's optional, and it's a custom card that you can use in your dashboard in case you use the timeline. That will basically visualize the timeline. So it'll have a title, and it will have the description, and it will have the image. And I was using it in the demo, so you saw that. To do that, just follow the instructions here. You can add the repository into a HACS in like that. So I'm gonna go back to my Home Assistant in here. I'm in the HACS. I will say custom repositories, paste it in there, say this is a dashboard, and add. And there is a new custom card in here, LLM Vision card. I will just click on that and say download. Download in here, and with this I will have this new card available for my dashboard to use that. So that's the setup. I will now switch back to my real actual production Home Assistant, and let's test it out. Right, so I'm gonna go to the developer tools, and here I'm gonna select the LLM image analyzer. So this is the action. Let's play with that. I can select the integration here, so I can do Gemini or OpenAI. I have added both. So I'm gonna do Gemini to start with. I'll leave the default model. Prompt, we will get back to that. I don't want to store this in a timeline. I don't want to use the memory right now. I could use one of the cameras. So, well, there is nothing going on right now. It's night. There's quiet on the street. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to use an image I have saved earlier. So this is the image. This is how the image looks like. So this is in front of my house during the day. And there is actually a guy delivering some groceries from this van. So this is the image. I will max up the resolution for now. I don't want to include the file name in the request. I would like to do 250. I will have more tokens. I'd like to have a longer answer. Temperature I'm going to leave on default. Title I could do, and expose images. I don't want to save the frame to the LLM Vision folder because it's already there. So I'm going to just uncheck that. And now the prompt, as you see, it's underlined in red. I need to add that. This is mandatory. I will say describe the image. Describe the image, and I'm going to fire it. And let's see what happens. Right, so I got the answer. It describes what it sees on the image. The image shows a residential scene captured by security camera. There's a timestamp. There is a paved area with gray bricks leading to a gate. There is a person entering through the gate. Behind him is a van. There is a patch of grass. And in the background there is a fence in brick wall and appears to be entrance area of a house. It's all true, but not very useful, right? Because the camera, it's a camera in front of my house. I know how the neighborhood looks like. It's always there. So I know it's security camera. I know there is a paved area. I know there are bricks. I know there is grass. So the only interesting part in here is that. So, but given the prompt, it did exactly what I asked it to do, right? So describe the image. So I need to improve the prompt. Well, I have a prompt that I made earlier in here. So there's a role for the LLM. You are a security system operator. You receive a snapshot from the camera in front of my house, probably triggered by a doorbell ringing. Because this is when the automation is called. Your task is to describe, identify people and vehicles in the image. If a person in the image, describe how they look and what they're wearing. If you know who it is, say so. If there are several people, state how many and describe each one. If it's vehicle, describe its appearance. If you can identify a make, say so. If the vehicle has a logo, not mention it, but... So there's some more instructions in here. Mention vehicles only if they are actually present, otherwise don't talk about them. Do not talk about the property or surroundings. So this is important. I don't want to talk about the grass and whatnot. So perform the action again and let's see what changes. There you go. There's one person in the image. The person is wearing dark pants, a dark jacket and dark shoes. They're carrying a large bag. So already more information about that. Then the car, there's a white van with purple stripe. The logo in the van is a white circle and stylized face inside. The text on the van is not legible. That's already good. That's already useful. Now, if it was a van from one of the global brands like DHL or UPS or Post Service, I'm pretty sure it would recognize it. But it's from the local delivery service and it doesn't recognize it. So I think it's a good example for using the memory. So what I have in here, I have a couple of things in the memory, and one of them is actually the logo of this company. So that's the one. And then there's a few other things. I use the same thing for the containers. these other containers, so it will be able to recognize the containers. And so how I configured that, actually, if I go to the device and services, LLM, and I go to the memory, reconfigure. So I have registered the path of those images. So there's the two containers. I have also my cars listed in here. I will show you an example of why it could be useful. And then there is this Koshik logo, and I could do other things. I can add other things if I want to. And for each of them, there is a description. So Koshik Online Grocery Delivery Service logo. So that's the one. So I have a memory. So what I could do is I could just go in here and say use memory and turn it on. And perform the action and see what happens. Okay, so one person and a van. The person is wearing dark clothing and carrying a large wicker basket. The van is white with purple logo. The logo shows shopping cart inside a circle and the text Koshik CZ. I can tweak this further. I think it was trying to describe. I think I was putting too much focus on describing the logo here. If I would delete that and try it once more, I think it will be less descriptive of the logo. One person in a van, man in dark jacket carrying a large wicker basket, white van with a Koshik grocery delivery logo. So it's consistently identifying the delivery company from the memory. So it's actually a good thing as an example. Okay, so this was one example. So if I want to use this in a automation, what I would do is I would then go to YAML. I would just copy this thing in here and then paste it in my automation. Let me show you one more. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, play with the memory. This time I'm going to try garage. And let's see, there's a car in the garage right now. It's dark, so it's an infrared image. So I probably won't be able to see the color. But let's see. Are there? Can you identify the cars? Perform. There is one car in the image. It appears to be Škoda Stego. Okay, so it did actually recognize it even without the memory, so I didn't have to use the memory in this case. So that's good. Otherwise I could have used the memory and it would use it. Anyway, so this could be useful to check when I close the garage door, to check which cars are in the garage, and based on that I can make decisions about maybe charging the cars and whatnot. I know which car is on the right, which is on the left, and so on. So I could use that in the automation. I could also use the OpenAI. So if I would use OpenAI instead, it didn't recognize the CityGo. So as I said, I think the Gemini works slightly better with recognizing the subject. Even with the memory, OpenAI couldn't recognize the car. It cannot identify model of the car, and Gemini could. So there you go. So what I would do is I would fine-tune your prompt and your response in here, like we just did. And once you're happy with the prompt, with the answer, copy it and bring it to your automation. So now that you know how it's done, let me quickly show you the automations. I know that you will ask, so I will share them in the description, but they are in no way meant to be used in your Home Assistant. Your use cases will be different, so use them just like an inspiration. They won't work for you. So I'm gonna open the automations. I'm gonna filter them for the AI, and here we go. So these are the 4 automations I was showing in the demo. So let's start from the security. The first one I was showing was person outside, nobody home or at night. So I'm just open it. So this one is triggered when the Frigate back camera detects person occupancy. This is one trigger, and I'm gonna give this trigger ID back. And I have a similar one for the movement in front of the house. So these are Frigate events. Now I'm gonna only do that when the control panel is either armed away and we are not home. So it means that if we would arm the alarm, but we're gonna be still around the house, this is gonna end here. Or if the alarm is not armed indeed and we're moving around the house, it won't be triggered as well. The other option is if we are armed home, so the alarm is triggered during the night from midnight till 8 o'clock, it will trigger the alarm as well. So these are the conditions, and then I have 2 actions. One is from the back, second is for the front, and they are both the same. So if this is triggered by ID front, what I'm doing is I call the LLM Vision image analyzer. So you saw this one in the developer tools. I'm using Google Gemini. There is the prompt. I'm gonna briefly read it, but I'm gonna share this automation in the description so you could check it out and translate it. It's in a Czech because I like to receive messages in Czech, but I'm gonna translate it for you. I like to remember it, so I like to store this in a timeline so I can check it back. It's gonna use the camera in front of the house, and I'd like to expose the images to have them in the timeline and generate the title. And the response variable is gonna be response. And for the prompt, I am saying you are the operator of the security system. Your task is to evaluate the security event and check the situation around the house. You're getting the camera picture in front of the house that was triggered by the motion sensor. Nobody is home on the property. No one should be there. Describe if you see something suspicious on the cameras. Are there any people or vehicles? If yes, say how many, how they look like, and what they do. So this is the prompt, not very complicated. And so this is the LLM Vision. Then what I do is I do 2 things. I send notification to my mobile phone and I say someone is in front of the house, and I include the response. I send it to my wife's phone, and that's pretty much it. I also have there, it's uploading the security footage to an external FTP server, but this one there historically for a number of years. So this is something I'd like to have the footage in the cloud as well. Probably need to revisit this one. So this is the first automation. The second one is when the security alarm is triggered. So when the home alarm is status changes to triggered, and what it's gonna do is if the light is below horizon, so at night, I turn on all the lights. I want to have all the lights in the house turn on for a number of reasons. First of all, if someone is in there, if all the lights come on, it will kind of turn them, go away. And the other thing is I like to check the security cameras, so it kind of helps. Then again, I'm running LLM Vision, Google Gemini. This one is a bit longer. I'm actually using in here all the security cameras I have, and I'm saying that again, you are the security system operator. The alarm has been triggered. Your task is to check all the cameras, evaluate the situation, and describe if there is something suspicious in any of the cameras. Are there any people or vehicles? If yes, give me detailed descriptions, how many there are, how they look like, what do they do. Additionally, check the state of the windows and doors. And then I'm actually saying for the cameras out there, I'm saying which camera is what, and these are the sensor states, and I'm actually including a template with the state of the sensor. So I'm saying that the door is open or closed, and then I'm saying if the door is open or closed, it might trigger false alarm, but on the other hand, it might mean that someone broke in through this door. And then I'm saying for the response, I like to only describe situation on the cameras where there is something suspicious. So I don't want it to describe what it sees on every single camera if there's nothing going on. On the cameras that where nothing goes on, do not list them one by one, but just say there's nothing going on in all the other cameras or all the cameras. And the same thing for the windows. Don't say, one window is closed, another window is closed, and so on. Just focus on what's going on. So that's that. Again, response. And I'm sending notification to me and my wife as well, and I'm creating persistent notification. The alarm has been triggered, and there's a response text. I might not need to do the persistent notification because I am exposing the image. I'm actually remembering this event in the timeline. So this is a historical thing. I was creating persistent notification. I might get rid of that going forward. So this is the second automation. Now the third one was, I think, the doorbell. So again, when the doorbell rings, when the binary sensor for the doorbell is changed to on, what I do is I actually do a couple of things, and I run them in parallel. First of all, I create event for Frigate, basically saying the doorbell has been rang, so I can actually get back to that in Frigate, because normally Frigate creates event when it detects motion, but in this case it didn't detect any motion, so I'd like to manually create an event. In fact, thinking about it, I should probably create event even for the previous one, so I'll get back to it, thinking about it now. The other thing is I'm actually turning on the front camera in the bedroom on the Google Hub. So this is additional thing. When I'm in the bedroom, I turn on the front camera on that thing. Then the other thing which I do is I'm actually blinking the light, and I find it quite useful if I'm like on a call and I get a courier is delivering something and someone is ringing the doorbell, and I might not hear the doorbell because I might have a headset on my ears, or maybe I'm in a room where I can't hear the doorbell. I get this sort of visual, the light in the room is gonna be toggling on and off 4 times, so I know someone is ringing. So it's kind of interesting. It might be, I think, similar thing the deaf people might use. So I can see the light going on and off repeatedly, and I know someone is ringing the doorbell. The important one is this one: check the camera, send notification. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to create a snapshot at the time when the person is ringing the doorbell, because the person might move after they ring the bell. So I want to make sure at the time when they ring, first thing I do is I capture a snapshot. And I'd like to make sure that the snapshot has a unique file name. And the reason for that is if I would use all the time the same file name, I've figured that it might be an issue with the browser cache and it will show a wrong image. So I'd like to create a unique file name, and for this reason I'm using this variable, and where I create the file name variable, and for the name I use the date and time to ensure that this is going to be unique. And then I'm gonna perform LLM Vision again. Your role is, again, your security system operator. You are getting a picture from the camera in front of the house, triggered by someone ringing the bell. Your task is to identify the people or cars on the picture. If there is a person, describe how they look like, what they wear. If you know who it is, say it. If there are multiple people, describe them one by one. If there is a car, say how it looks like. If you can identify the brand, say it. If there is any logo, say it. Mention cars only if they are on the picture. If not, don't mention it. Don't talk about the property or any surroundings. And don't say on the picture there is, start with it is. Respond in Czech without any conversational topics. And then there is few examples of what kind of response I would like to have. I'm using, in fact, I should be using memory in here. And I like to remember it in the timeline. Now, I'm not using the image from the camera because the person might have moved and it's behind the fence. So I'm actually using the snapshot that was created and saved in this directory. And that's pretty much it. Then I'm gonna again send notification to our phones. Someone is ringing and the response text. And then again, I'm creating persistent notification, including the image. And as I said earlier, I might maybe ignore that because I'm saving that in the timeline anyway. So this is the third automation. I'm gonna save this one. And finally, I have the one for the waste collection. So when the sun sets, so standard trigger during the sunset, there are two actions, one for the bio waste and one for the general waste. Otherwise, they are exactly the same. And it says, if the bio waste collection is tomorrow, so the days of this sensor is 1, then check the picture again, Google Gemini. This one is actually in English because I don't care what it says. I say check whether the brown bio-waste bin is visible behind my fence, identify it using memory, use the memory to recognize the bin, ignore any bins that are outside my property, for example neighbors, and for respond either 1 if the bin is there and 0 if not, and only respond single character 0 or 1 with no text, no extra spaces, nothing. I don't want to remember it. I want to use memory because there are the pictures of the bins, and I'm gonna use the front camera, and I actually don't want to expose the image. And then I have a conditional execution of the action. So if the response text is 0, so if there is no bin, then I have on the satellite, I say tomorrow is the collection of the bio waste and there is no bin in front of the house, and that's it. And I have exactly the same for the other one. Sorry, this one, and I'm gonna check it because I like to fix the use memory, image entry, target width, generative title. I don't want to expose the image because I don't need to save in this directory whether the bin was there or not. I'm gonna save it, and these were the 4 automations that I was showcasing in the beginning of this video. As simple as that. And that's it. These were 3 ways I use LLM Vision in my home to add real intelligence to my security cameras. And the setup was just a few clicks. Now, question for you. How would you use LLM Vision at your home? Drop your ideas below. I'm keen to to learn from them. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.